taught in class, you could ask and then they'll take you through it very well. Aside from that, throughout the week, you can text them, they would help you out with your problems if you have issues. And at a point, sometimes it felt overwhelming. I felt like it was too much. So I did text one of the tutors, and then she gave me a heads up and was like, it's normal. It's a bit normal for you to feel that way. So she helped me out, and then I got back on track. So initially I was dealing with imposter syndrome too, because I felt I wasn't good enough to apply for jobs. So for a while I wasn't applying, but then in May, late April and then May, I decided that I had to apply for jobs because I was just staying at home. So I started applying, and then the CV formats that we were given, I used that CV format, and then with the projects that I had built, I just used them and then started applying. And luckily for me, it's like most of the jobs that I applied with that CV format and my skills, I got an interview for them. The first one that I applied, which was Sunko Academy, and I got an interview. I went, and then later on the call that I had been accepted, so I was supposed to start work. So I started work last week Monday, and if it was there that I realized that they said that for the role that they were
sorry, Mary, sorry to interrupt. Yeah. Okay, I beg your pardon. So when did you say you started again? I want everybody to hear when did you say this?
I started last week Monday.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so far, we've been working on data, huge data sets. We've been cleaning, and hopefully by next week we'll be done cleaning, then we'll start with the analysis. And it was there that I realized we were told that the number of people who applied for that position, it was a lot, like over 3,000.
Over 3,000?
Over 3,000 people. So it was at that point I was like, hey, I think it's the CV formats that, like, I don't know, pulled me in or something, because for over 3,000 people, and then they just needed.
So is it possible that it is you they picked, right?
How? It was just 2 people that they needed to. So I was shocked, but I didn't let them know. And the other 2 interviews, whenever I go for it, they ask me if it's like they're fascinated about the skills, especially with the Excel and in Power BI. So mostly they will be asking me, how confident are you in Power BI? So I realized that Power BI is kind of like necessary in almost all the companies for reporting. So the moment they see that you have some
Okay, so good evening, everybody. Please, can we hear me? Hello, good evening, everybody. Can we hear me, please? Can give me like maybe a thumbs up if you can, so that I'll be sure that everybody can hear me loud and clear. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you, Peter. Thank you, everybody. All right, so pending when our instructor would join us, I want to get to know you guys, okay? So pending when our instructor will join us. So my name is Shakirat, and I'm the lead data coach here at Event Analytics. And by profession, I'm also a data analyst, and I'm joining from Lagos. So can you just type in the chat box where you're joining us from before our instructor joins us shortly? Okay, so where are we joining us from? Okay, Ibrahim is joining from Lagos. Okay, Muturayo is joining from Lagos. Chioma is joining from Enugu. Lilian is joining from Lagos. So my Lagos people, don't worry. Maybe one of these days we'll get to like meet each other and see how we can collaborate on something. Okay. So Abdullah, you're on call. So Peter is joining from Lagos. All right. So welcome everybody.
Hi, Akirat, can you hear me?
Okay. Yes, I can.
Okay. Good evening, Shakirat. How are you doing today?
I'm doing very well. Good evening, Abdullah.
Okay. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to tonight's session. I hope we are all doing very, very fine. Let me see your thumbs up if you are very, very geared to join this session today. I can see Lilian, I can see Motunrayo, I can see Adewumi, Nosa, Chioma, and also Peter Bassi. Welcome to this session, Divine. I hope we are all doing very, very fine. So I'm going to pin myself to the screen so you can see me. All right. Uh, I'm going to pin this tile up here so that you can see me. I hope we are all doing very fine today. My name is Abdullah Yondaolo Musa, and I would be the one to drive you through, the VTS for today, basically. All right. So it's more or less like showing you what we do here or what we train our students on in whatever tracks that they get in here at Navient Analytics. All right. So please kindly put a thumbs up if you can hear me. Okay. Thank you very much, Divine. Just a bit of prepping before I continue. If you know that your network is going to be laggy, please go and look for rope to tie it down. All right, so that you are not going to miss out on a large chunk of information today. All right, so that's one thing. Another thing is that for today, it's going to be a very, very interactive session. Okay, so you would do well to make me know if I'm on the right track in terms of my network, in terms of you hearing me clearly, and so on and so forth, like that. So basically, we are also going to walk through the whole process together, of explaining things how they should be. All right. So if at any point you are losing me, okay, just call my attention. All right. Just call my attention. Welcome to the session, Priscilla. I hope you are doing very fine. So, yeah, a brief introduction about myself, guys. My name is Abdullah Yondaolo Musa, and majority of my colleagues here at Nibiant Analytics call me AIM. Okay. And here at Nibiant Analytics, I am the team lead for the business analysis team. Okay. The training, the coordinators, and so on and so forth, like that, for the business analysis track. Okay. So you can call me AIM, all right, to aim for the stars, actually. So, yeah, my name is Abdullah Musa, and I will be driving us through the session for tonight. But before I continue, who can tell me the topic for tonight's session? Who can tell me the topic of tonight's session feasibly? You can use the chat box, guys. You can use the chat box. You can tell me the topic for tonight's session. If we have the topic, we can now let us even know if we all know what we are here to talk about, or we just joined randomly, let us know. I'll just wait a couple of minutes to let that pass through. So who can guess what we are here to do tonight? What topic are we here to tackle tonight? I can't see anybody. I can't see anybody typing anything yet. Is it that we do not know what we are? Okay, Nosa said business analysis. Okay, Priscilla said JIRA for product requirements documentation. Beautiful. Thank you very much, Priscilla. Thank you very much, Priscilla. So, Nosa, it's in relationship with business analysis. You are very, very correct. Okay, but the tool that we are going to learn tonight is called JIRA. Okay, JIRA for business analysis. Okay, how you can use it to build your product requirements documentation and so on and so forth, like that. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so that we would see how everything is going to be like. So that should come up in a bit. Can we see my screen? Can we all see my screen? If you can see my screen, let me see a thumbs up. Can we see my screen? Okay. Beautiful. So let me put it on the slideshow so we know, or we see that I'm actually sharing my screen. Beautiful. All right, so tonight we are going to learn how business analysts, okay, use JIRA for product requirements documentation. Okay, so we're going to go to the tiniest bit of things and we're going to stroke it through those areas basically. Okay, I'm also going to use a supplementary tool that I normally use as a whiteboard. Okay, although it is not a whiteboard, it is mostly used for process mapping. As a business analyst, you need to know what they call process mapping and say and the likes like that. Okay, so basically try as much as possible not to leave the session. Try as much as possible to be glued to your seat. Have your notepads with you, and we are going to do a very, very nice job tonight. Okay, so basically tonight we're going to learn how business analysts use JIRA for product requirements documentation. But before we go into that, we want to discuss why Nibient Analytics was born. Okay, so okay, what is Nibient Analytics all about? How do we roll? How do we do our things here? Okay, it's a very simple structure. All right, it's a very simple structure. At Nibient Analytics, we are not just an edtech company. Okay, we are a company that trains people, okay, trains professionals in Africa, okay, how to dive, how to build, how to thrive in tech careers. All right, in thriving tech careers, not just any type of tech career. Okay, so careers that are in demand out there. All right, careers that are in demand out there. Okay, and one thing that we've done is that we've helped 100 plus Africans, more than 100, okay, Africans break into data analytics, data science, and also business analysis. So if you are joining us today, welcome. It's a privilege to have you here and to also see the potential of what we are here to offer to you all. Okay, so we will train you on the skills, on the tools, and also on the confidence to compete and to also lead the team or lead, the pack globally. All right. You heard from the beginning video where we had a student that was trained, and also was picked as the top two out of 3,000 applicants for a job. Okay, this is one of the best things that we've ever boasted of here at Nibiant Analytics as to how our people are going out there to do very, very nice thing. So whether you are starting to look from you're starting from zero, or majorly you are looking to level up, Nibiant Analytics is where your journey begins. Okay, so moving ahead, our roadmap today is covering a couple of things. The first one is learning how business analysts use JIRA for product requirement documentation, and also how we can help you get into tech in the shortest time possible. And lastly, is a special announcement at the end of the session, and also a question and answer structure. All right, so that will be one of the major things that we are going to focus on tonight. So, yeah, let me see your thumbs up. You can write in the chat box if you are ready for this session. Are you ready for this session, guys? Are we all ready for this session? Are we pumped? If you are pumped, let me see pumped in the chat box, guys. Let me see you write pumped in the chat box. Pumped professionals. Okay. Beautiful. 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 Okay, so basically, I'm going to go ahead and go straight into what we are here to treat. Okay, how you can use JIRA for product requirements documentation. Okay, so we're going to start from tiny bits and we are going to pick it up from there. Okay, we are going to start from tiny bits and we are going to pick it up from there. Okay, so just a moment, and yes. But first off, I'm going to show us a tool called draw.io. Okay, it's used by business analysts too for process mapping and notation. Okay, it's used for process mapping and notation. I'm just going to open a new chart or a new diagram, and let's just call this explanation. Okay. Just a moment, and we should have our diagram load. Beautiful. So just going to zoom in, and we're going to pick it up from there once again, like I said. Okay, guys. So I said earlier on that one of the things I love to do is just to show a whiteboard, to show an illustration while building things. Okay, so I'm going to start with a couple of things, and we are going to link it up from there. All right. So first off, you have the business that you are dealing with. Okay, we are getting somewhere. All right. So we have businesses. Okay, the businesses are being led by stakeholders, which are like which are like CEOs, and other executives like that. You have a founder, all right? You have a business owner, okay? And in some cases, you're going to have their problems, their solutions, and the likes like that. So let's define this using, let's use an idea, okay? The business owner is going to have an idea for a product, okay? An idea for a product. A business owner is going to have an idea for a product, okay? There is always an idea for a product for a business stakeholder, okay? Oh, the way I want to build my business, you know, or the way they want to build their business, okay? They always have an idea for it, okay? Oh, the way I do my thing here in my business is this. Or I have this idea, I want to build something that Nigerians can use to build something like this, okay? And so on and so forth like that. But before we go into this, we want to first of all understand, okay, what do we call products? Okay, what do we call products? What are products? Anybody who can tell me the meaning of products in the tech world that you know? Or just tell me the meaning of what you know as product. When someone says, oh, you know, we have a product that we want to sell. Who wants to tell me? You can use our chat box. You can use our chat box. Or if you want to speak, you can raise your hand. You can raise your hand like this, and I'm going to grant you access to speak. Okay, Joseph, please go ahead. You can unmute your mic and try and speak. Joseph, can you go ahead? Okay, Priscilla is answering our questions. So I don't know if okay, I guess I'm just going to give access to. So Joseph, please, you can unmute now and speak. I'm going to read out what Priscilla said. You should be able to now, Joseph. You should be able to try it out.
Okay. So basically, product is an item or a service that the customer would experience to solve the problem.
Okay. Can you give me an example? Can you give me a feasible example?
Okay, like a book or a knowledge material or like a phone
Okay,
or a software.
beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you very much. So let's even take it from the tiniest bit. Okay, let's take it from the tiniest bit. What am I going to use to do an example now? Let's just say a book. Okay, let's just say a book. A book is a product, for example. All right, a book is a product, for example. And having a book in this scenario, it is going to have processes. Okay, there will be processes towards building that book. Okay, there will be processes towards building that book. Okay, there are processes that go into building a book. Okay, so in every building structure of a process of a product, sorry, in every building structure of a product, there's always a process towards it. You can't just wake up one morning and you just have a product, bam. Okay, you can't just wake up one morning and you just have a product. No, it can never happen that way. Okay, you have a process towards it actually. Okay, you have a process towards that building of that product. Okay, now that process is where a lot of things come in. If I want to build a book in this scenario, okay, I have to go into the bush. What do we think that we use to create books? What do we use to create books, guys? This is going to test the knowledge of a couple of us. Okay, Peter, you can go ahead. What do we use to build books?
So it depends on the type of book. For some books, they might use wood, and if you even narrow down to a specific type of wood that they use, depending on the outcome or the type of finished product that they want to use that book for. So it varies.
Yeah. Thank you very much. But for the basic ones, we use woods, right? We use woods for the basic ones, and so on and so forth like that. Now, let's just say there's a process. We have to first of all research where we can get those specific woods that we want to use. That's number one. We have to first of all research, right? So for the building for every building process, okay, for every build, okay, for every building process, there is that building structure there before we now achieve the product. Okay, so in this scenario now, we are researching about where we can get maybe an Iroko tree, or we are getting an oak tree, or anything that is going to influence the building of our books, right? So that's number one. Number two is we are going to now go into those bushes or go into those forests to now cut down the trees, turn them into wherever I want to turn them into whatever I want to turn them to, degrade it up to an extent where we can now pick it and now say, oh, this is paper, and convert it and do all of those conversions back and forth and the likes like that. Or we should look at a process where we are trying to make bread, for example. We're trying to make bread. We have our flours, we have our butters, we have a couple of things like that. All right, we have a couple of things around that scenario. Okay, so in this structure now, you have the ability to now build that bread, make it look as though it's maybe a wheat bread, a fruit-based bread, a normal bread, sardine bread, and so on and so forth like that. So for every product, there is that process where you build. It has series of steps and the likes like that. Now, that's not the major focus, because we already know that, yes, before building anything, there is a process, okay? Now, before we go further, we have an attendance form that would guarantee you to get the recording of this session. Okay, you have an attendance form in the chat box. It was just posted now. All right, so for you to get access to the resources used in this session, both the slides and every other thing that was used in this session, you have an attendance form in the chat box. Please do well to fill it in so that I can get the recording of this session. Okay, so as I was saying, all right, you have the process of building a product. Okay, you have that major process where you get to build the product and so on and so forth like that. But that's not the major area for every structure, because we know that before we can build anything, we have to take steps towards it. But the other thing is, how do we track these processes? There are a couple of things that generates from the question. Okay, number one is, how do we track? Okay, how do we track? Okay, how do we track what is going to happen? That's number one. All right, that is one feasible area that we need to look at. Number two is, how are we sure we have the correct, are we sure we have the correct, stuffs for building this product? Okay, are we sure we have the right documentation? Okay, are we sure we have the right documentation? Okay, so that's another thing. Are we sure we have the right documentation. That is another potential stuff that happens. Okay, in the structure of building a process. Okay, we are trying to build a product. How do we track the building of this product? Number one, are we sure we have the right documentation? And there are some other things like, okay, how do we assign and how do we split the tasks that are going to come up from this process? There are things that come up like that. Okay, so you can have, how do we track? How are we sure we have the right documentation? How are we sure, okay, we are splitting the tasks correctly? Or how do we even know the people that are involved in the structure of building a product? Okay, so this is another feasible area, okay, that you need to look at. Okay, in building products, in building whatever, there will be a process. But within that process, there are questions like, oh, how do we track this progress, the progress of building? How are we sure we even have the right documentation? And so on and so forth. So these things are what birth the function of what we call product requirement document. Okay, product requirement document. So that is one thing that birthed the whole structure of what? Product requirement document, PRDs. So we call them PRDs for short. Okay, as business analysts, we call them PRDs. Okay, so these are the things that birth the function of product requirements document. Okay, this is just me building illustration so we can have a map in our mind. All right, we have what we call PRDs, product requirement documentations, and these are things that aid us to be able to track the progress of our project, you know, be able to make us sure that yes, we have the right documentation. Now, who is that person that builds the product requirements documentation? It is you, the business analyst. Okay, it is you, the business analyst, that help in building the product requirements documentation. Okay, or documents. It's you, the business analyst, that help in curating that. It's you that helps implement that, so that whatever technical team that will now later build the product or build the structure can go to that document and say, oh, this is what this person said we are going to use. This is how they said we are going to do it, and so on and so forth like that. Okay, so what are products? Products are literally items or systems or services that, you know, we are building to solve a business problem. Okay, so say for example, in the area of communication, instead of you to come to a physical workspace, we have Google Meet that everyone can use from the convenience of their home. But in the process of building Google Meet, there were a series of processes. There were a series of documentations that was supposed to be made. Oh, okay, people should be able to share their screen. They should be able to see whoever is trying to show their screen. Okay, they should be able to see, oh, this person is showing, this person is able to turn on his or her video, or mute the mic, have host controls, and so on and so forth. So these are tons and tons of documentations. Okay, and who does that? Okay, it is the business analyst. Okay, the business analyst does that. The business analyst does what we call requirements documentation. Okay, but this requirements documentation is now geared towards the product. What should the product have? How should it be built? You know, and so on and so forth like that. So I'm going to go ahead, because of time, I'm going to show us a feasible example of what a product requirement documentation is. And I'm also going to show us how JIRA comes to play into the whole scenario for us. Okay, I'm going to show us how JIRA comes to play into the whole scenario for us. Now, this is a case study. Okay, this is a case study. The case study is about a business that is, group of schools. All right, a couple of schools want to they want to build a product that can help them in student management, attendance tracking, and so on and so forth, like that. So now we have different areas of the product. It's going to say, oh, I should be able to manage my students. I should be able to track their attendance. I should be able to do a couple of things like reporting, analytics. I should be able to see my students' reports, my students' report card, and so on and so forth, like that. And as a parent too, I should be able to sign in and see. So this is a product that they want to build. Okay, this is a product that they want to go ahead and build. But before building the product, there will be a process towards it. Okay, and this is a documentation that was done when the stakeholder was met with. Okay, the stakeholders, they were met with, and these are examples of requirements that were gathered. Okay, so say for example now, they want to build, they want to be able to manage the students. This is one epic. Okay, we want to be able to manage our students. Okay, and the stakeholders are telling us that, oh, as an admin, as an administrator, I want to be the one to register the students into the platform with their details, their name, their ID, their class, and so on and so forth, like that. As a teacher, I want to be able to view the list of students in my class, okay, so that I can easily take attendance. As an admin, I also want to edit and update. We are gathering this right from the stakeholder, so that whoever, maybe the developers that are going to build this product, they are going to come there, and it's going to serve as the one source of truth for them. There is no, oh, what did this person say in it? Because you already gathered it. So they can always come here and say, oh, what do we need to build here? What do we need to build here? All of the things you are trying to do is to help the business owner bridge. You are trying to bridge the gap between the business owners and technology at large. All right. Now, say, for example, they want to build a software. This is an example of a typical document that you can use, you can generate for them. Okay. Oh, want to do attendance tracking while gathering the requirement. The stakeholder is telling you, okay, under attendance tracking, we want to be able to do this, we want to be able to do that, we want to be able to do so on and so forth. And you are here on this end gathering it. Oh, okay. The stakeholder said, as a teacher, you want to be able to mark the students' attendance. As a teacher, they want to be able to update, student attendance and so on and so forth, like that. Okay, so a couple of us might have been in scenarios where our business stakeholders are always like, oh, I even want to build something that people are able to come there, buy, sell, do so on and so forth, like that. This is one thing that you can build that would guide whoever, maybe the development team, to build what they want to build faster. What are the benefits? Okay, what are the major benefits of having a PRD like this? Okay, what are the major benefits in building a PRD, sorry. Okay, the major benefit of having a PRD is that it's going to help the business structure. Okay, it's going to help the project structure at large. Your project is going to be structured. It's going to help whoever, the developers that want to build the product at the end of the day. It's going to help them outline and say, okay, for this particular thing that I want to build in this product, this is what we are going to need. This is what we are going to need. This is what we are going, because they have a documentation that already speaks about everything for them. All right. So they will be able to split it into timelines. Oh, these are a couple of things that we can do within this time. All right, these are a couple of things that we'll be able to do within this time. This is something that we're going to be able to do within this time, and so on and so forth. Okay, so these are several things. These are benefits of having the PRD. Okay, so but before I go into the next thing, right? In as much as we have the PRD, okay, we can also use the PRD. We can build the PRD in such a way that we use it to now track the progress of whatever we are building. Okay, we have outlined all of the things that the product is going to need. Beautiful. Now, after outlining everything that the product is going to build, going to need, and so on and so forth like that, we need to have something that would help us track the progress of that project or of building that product, the progress of building, the product. In as much as we are trying to build the product, we should be able to track, it. All right, that is where JIRA as a tool comes in. Okay, that is where JIRA as a tool comes in. Okay, so if you have seen JIRA before here, let me see our thumbs up. If you have used JIRA here before, or you've heard about it. Okay, if you have heard about JIRA before, if you have heard about tools like JIRA, Asana, ClickUp, and so on and so forth like that, let me see your thumbs up. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. That is super cool. So JIRA in and of itself is one tool that we use to train students here at Nibient Analytics how they can use it to track projects, okay, and track the building of products. Okay, so it's just a basic build setup that you can do for any business owner. What it's going to do for them is going to give them progress report automatically that, okay, this is where the build of your project is. Okay, it's going to give them a snapshot that, oh, see, your progress, the progress of your project is this. Okay, this is what is still yet to be done. This is what they've done on it, and this is how much stuff that remains, and so on and so forth like that. So these are sample. This is just a map out of what to expect or what to see how to build inside of JIRA in and of itself. Okay, so here inside JIRA, you have what we call the timeline chart. Okay, the timeline chart is just to literally tell you the timeline. Okay, you'll be able to have a scope of the timeline of building your project or building your product. Okay, in this scenario now, we have a couple of sprints. It's going to take 2 weeks to complete this particular category of task. Okay, before we can build out student registration, all of these things are being cropped out of the product requirements document. So what this does for the business is that they'll be able to meet up with the time of, deploying their preferred and estimated time of arrival of their product. Okay, so these are things that companies like Apple use. Every year, we hear that Apple is going to launch a new iOS. They are going to launch a new iOS build. They are going to launch a new iOS build. They are going to launch a new iPhone. Who knows the latest iOS build that they just made out now? What's the latest iOS build? Anybody? You can put it in the chat box. iOS what do we have out now? My iPhone users. You can use the chat box. We have iOS what out now? No, iOS 17. No. No. We're no longer using iOS 18. They just rolled out a new one. They just rolled out a new iOS. We are no longer using iOS 18. It's called the glass iOS. Who can tell me? Hey, don't tell me that nobody knows the new iOS that Apple just rolled out, though. Not iOS 17, not iOS 18, no. We have the latest iOS out now. It's called iOS 26. I'm serious. It's called iOS 26. So imagine if every year Apple is trying to roll out a new iOS build and they are not able to track it. They are just building it based off vibes and inshallah. So I'll just put it that way. Okay, they are just trying to build the whole thing upon vibes and inshallah. They won't be able to achieve what they set out to achieve. Yes, the liquid glass. Thank you very much. iOS 26. Okay, that's the latest build of the Apple company. Okay, and some of their other smartphone builds that come with iOS 26 natively is the iPhone 17, 17 Air, and so on and so forth, like that. So a couple of us might be pre-ordering the iOS 17 already. I trust us. So yeah, say for example, Apple is not able to do something like this, okay? They won't be able to meet up with the estimated time of arrival for or announcements for iOS 26. Okay, because they held an event. So say for example, they just have the idea. They have not put it down. They have not been able to track it. JIRA is one thing that can support in helping businesses track the progress of their project. Okay, that is one of the major things that JIRA does. And you as a business analyst, apart from gathering the whole requirements or being with the stakeholder to collate all of the things that the ideas that they need, it's not the developers that go and sit down with the stakeholder to now start asking them, okay, what do you want us to build for you? How do you want us to build it? No, they have somebody that is in form of strategy that does all of those documentation for them. Okay, does all of the documentation for them, collates everything, and is able to, push out and able to help them build something that they'll be able to use to track. These are systems where the project managers now come in to now start saying, oh, okay, with what we have, what have we done? How are we doing it? And so on and so forth, like that. Okay, so these are scenarios where we come into and we are able to implement this. Okay, we're able to build this for businesses, and we're able to achieve a couple of things. Okay, so JIRA helps a business owner see the progress of the project that he or she is building currently, or the product. All right, am I breaking, guys? Am I breaking, or can you hear me clearly? If you can hear me clearly, let me see our thumbs up, please. Okay. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you very much, guys. So like I said, I'm just going to go over it briefly again. So like I said earlier on, if you have been following me, I said that for every business, for every stakeholder, they are going to, Black Sinclair, I'm coming. I'm going to explain in a bit now. So I'm going to explain in a bit now. So for every business and for every stakeholder, they have that idea for a product. And the person that helps them bring it to life, okay, brings the product to life, is the who? Is the developer. Okay, it's the developers that help them bring their product to life. All these products that we're able to use now is the developers that helps bring it to life. Okay, it's the developers that helps brings it to life. But who is that person that now helps document it so that there is no missing loop of information within that structure? It is not the project manager, it is the business analyst. Okay, it is you as a business analyst that sit down with the stakeholders to gather information from them. That will see, this is something that we are able to, okay, what do you think about this? How do you want it to be? Like, okay, you gather things across functional requirements, non-functional requirements, you know, things that will support the application, you know, get their ideas, milk requirements from them, milk what the product is going to entail from them. Okay, what the project manager is coming to do in the picture is just to help make sure that the timeline for the project is met. They are doing things that would, you know, apply the right amount of pressure on building that project or building that product, sorry, in this scenario now. Okay, so business and stakeholders just has idea for a product. The people that help them bring it to life are the developers. But before then, there are some people that would help them with the PRDs, product requirement documents, which are the BAs. So I explained earlier on that we have products. Products has their own building process, okay? And the building process has questions. How do we track this progress? How are we sure that we have the right documentation? How are we sure that we are splitting the tasks for this product, okay, correctly? Are we splitting it to the right person? Is it the right person that is expected to take up on this task that is taking up on this task? So all of these things are generated into the PRD, then now put on a platform like JIRA to track the progress of the product actually. Okay, so someone said earlier on that JIRA wants to look like Azure. Yes, he also wants to look like Azure. We have what we call Azure DevOps. Azure DevOps is a product by Microsoft, also used for product management and progress management and project management too. Okay, so it's also a tool by Microsoft. Okay, we have JIRA, we have Asana, we have ClickUp, we have Trello. We also have Azure DevOps, like I said earlier on. Okay, so these are very, very good tools that are being used in the space today for project management. So different companies with different requirements. So this is just one of 1,000 tools that you can use to track your project. Just like you have Microsoft Excel and also Google Sheets. Okay, so we have a couple of things like that too. Okay, so if you have been following me and you understand what I've been saying since morning, okay, please let me see your thumbs up. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Thank you very much, Adewumi. Thank you very much, Sinclair. Thank you very much, Donald. Are these the only people? Okay, thank you very much, Amarachi, Tolu Lokpe, Ajadi. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Well done, guys. All right. So now that we have seen what JIRA is and so on and so forth like that, I'm just going to allow room for just 5 questions. Okay. Okay. Beautiful. Thank you very much, Adeyanju. Thank you very much, Adeyanju. I'm just going to allow five questions, right? I'm just going to allow 5 questions. And yeah, before I allow that 5 questions, we can raise our hands. Please raise your hands if you have any question concerning what I have just, taught us. So while we are waiting for that, right, we have the form. If you know you have any question, please raise your hands and I would reach out to you in a moment. Okay. Now, while we are waiting for that, there is a form in the chat box. That's the attendance form. Please kindly do well to fill in the attendance form, because the attendance form is going to guarantee the function of you getting the recording and the materials of this session. Okay, the attendance form is what will help guarantee all of that basically. Okay, so Donald. Okay, so Donald, please, you can unmute your mic and ask your question. Hi, Donald. Are you there? Let's take it back to JIRA, because JIRA is the tool that we are trying to learn. Before I touch up on Adewumi's...
can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I can hear you. Hi, Donald. How are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm doing great. I understand everything you said concerning JIRA. But my question is, as someone who wants to like particularly study or learn data analysis, is it required to learn JIRA as well?
Okay, so majorly, as someone who wants to kickstart learning data analytics, okay? So let me just put it this way. I'm going to get into tiny bits of that actually, but let me just put it into this way. Okay, there is nothing as a wasted knowledge, all right? But in as much as data analytics is concerned, what you are dealing with is interpreting, analyzing, and also, building interactive dashboards that will translate the data that your stakeholders are going to need properly. Okay, so for example, you are doing things around sales, you are doing things around finance, and so on and so forth like that. You are going to do things in a way that is going to help your stakeholders, right, understand, the data that they have currently. Now, you can take that dashboard building project as a project. And you can track the building of that project using a tool like JIRA. Inside JIRA, you can outline it and say, okay, I have the first phase of this task is that we have to do a research into our database. We have to do a research into our database. Then after that, after doing the research, we now extract the data out. After extracting the data out, we now select the type of data that we need. These are steps, these are processes, right? But each process needs to be tracked, within a certain timeline. So it helps you as a professional yourself, right? So say, for example, your stakeholders say, okay, we are going to have a meeting in the next 2 weeks, and we need to see a dashboard that speaks about marketing, how much debit cards, credit cards have we been able to sell, in what branches have we been able to sell it, and so on and so forth like that. What you go in there to do at first as a data analyst is you go there to gather the questions that your stakeholders will most likely have. That starts the first stage. You are going ahead to now say, oh, okay, I need to go ahead and research in our database. What type of data can give me this information? So instead of you to now start racking your brain to start saying, you can just put all of these things down on a tool like JIRA, then track them, autonomously. How do I put it? Automatically. All right. So say in a team where you are guiding a lot of data analysts now on several projects, you can also use a tool like this. Okay. So in as much as project management is concerned, in the top integral part of every business, there's also a part of handling product requirements. Okay. You want to build like tons of dashboards. Think of yourself like a consultant. You have like 10 dashboards to build for each client. And each client has their own, oh, this one is coming from hospitality. This one is coming from this. This one is coming from that. There will be a way you are tracking it. So a tool like JIRA would really, really help out on that end a lot. So do you need to learn it as a data analyst? Yes, at some point. But for a data analyst is to get the integral part of what you need to learn first. So your SQL, Excel, Power BI, and so on and so forth like that. The major guys that are expected to learn this thing are business analysts. Okay. So I'm going to tell you a couple of things more, right? Even business analysts can also build dashboards and so on and so forth like that. But I'm going to get to that in a bit. Okay, so I have Adewumi. Okay, I should clarify between PRDs and requirement gathering in business analysis. Beautiful. So for every, for every structure, for every business, they would have to, kind of translate what they need to do. Okay, so either they want to build a product or they want to embark on something. What gathering it in it, what having a documentation, okay, means is that they can always come back to it and review it. They can always come back to it and say, okay, this documentation that I gathered, what I said cannot be different from what I documented. So, say for example, you are taking up on a business solution now, and what you went to meet your stakeholder for was that, okay, tell us something about or what you need about the product. And at the point of them building the whole thing, the stakeholder said, no, this is not what I asked you guys to build. This is not what I asked you guys to do. You can always refer back to that documentation that you had, to say, no, see, this is like a proof of that. That's why I said, when I said your documentations are like the one source of truth, it is like your proof to show to the stakeholder that, see, this was what you said. Okay, this is how we are going to do it. So there are several types of documentations that we can have. Okay, and the process of getting through to those documentations is what we call requirements gathering, where we meet with the concerned people. We meet with the concerned people and we ask them questions so that we can gather those documentation. So requirements are more or less like information in business analysis. So information gathering, requirements gathering, you get the scope now. So
all right.
Yeah, there are several, documentations that we can gather as business analysts. So you can gather a documentation for your process in the business. So this is how we do things. You should have seen SOP before, right? Standard operating processes of business. So some businesses will go as far as putting it in a user manual for their staffs. So if they do something outside of the scope of their work, they know that they are getting out immediately. So who are the people that help them in building this? Is the business analyst. Okay. So that's number one. Number two is there are some documentations that aid in. So there are some documentations that aid in business requirements, or say we have BRDs in this scenario now. So the business requirement documentation is one documentation that is going to contain the scope, the view of the business as a whole. What is our goal? Our long-term goal in this business, and so on and so forth like that. So you are populating things that would aid in, how will I put it now? In selling the business, in making sure that this business structure is as clear as possible. This is how we operate in this business. This is how the scope of this business is. Okay. So businesses usually have BRDs. BRDs are things that point business. Oh, this is who we serve. These are the guys that we, focus on. So I'm going to give a couple of examples now.
Thank you.
Yeah, think of Sterling Bank. Think of I'm going to give banks now. I don't know. There's a thing with banks that start with letter S. You can't see them. You can't see them. You can't see those type of banks act like Access Bank, First Bank, GTB. Because there are some banks that are reserved for the rich. Let me just put it like that. There are some banks that are reserved for pensioners. So if you go to a bank like Standard Chartered and you are trying to say, have you seen a market woman hold a Standard Chartered bank card before?
No, not really.
But you will see them hold bank cards like maybe Money Point, Microfinance Bank. They can have like OPay cards. Yeah.
Sorry. Can I just take you back on that? I think I've seen.
Okay.
I've seen.
You have seen someone.
Yes.
You see
yes.
someone.
In fact, the day I saw them, I was perplexed because I didn't expect.
Yes, you'll be surprised
that to see those caliber of people in Standard Chartered Bank. I mean, I saw those Igbo guys that wear slippers in Standard Chartered Bank. I was amazed. I didn't expect it at all.
Yeah, so it just tells. So I'm just citing an example, right? That it tells you it is very rare. It's very rare before you can see people.
Yeah, it's not common.
Yeah, it's not very common, right? So it has sort of diverted the way the business view is like, right?
Okay.
To position us like maybe Standard Chartered Bank is not for the unbanked population. I'm going to give another example. How do you think brands like Rolls-Royce, brands like Inekin, and the like that, how do you think they do their advertisements? You can't be going on the road now and you just see like maybe there's this popular watch brand. What's the name now? There's this popular watch brand like Patek and some other guys like that. I'm really thinking of it now, but I can't really remember. So say for example now, those type of watch brands, you can't see them like the regular guys you see on your billboards. Where you are going to see those type of advertisements are where HNIs are. Like, thank you very much, Cartier, Rolex. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So for those of us that watch golf or we watch F1 racing, that is where HNIs come to, high net worth individuals. Right? They know their target markets. They know who they are coming to meet there.
Yeah.
Right? So that is where they go to. Or they can just feature in a movie. You can just see the person that is driving the actor, the main actor in the movie, using a Rolls Royce to do his skills in the in the movie as an actor that he is, right? So these are things that, so behind the scene, behind building, behind starting up the business, there is a business plan that helps them out. Who is that person that helps them generate that business plan to have them to make them have a focus at the end of the day? It is you as a business analyst. Now you can pose yourself in different positions. You can be a consultant, you can be a strategist, and so on and so forth. You can be a process improver, and so on and so forth. So these are things that we do, and this is just like the basics, the nitty-gritty of you handling a stakeholder at large. Right. So that is just how it is. And I really hope I've been able to answer that question properly.
Yes, you are able to answer the question. Just one more question. In the context of the school that you mentioned, you set an example, school.
Yeah.
You mentioned the stakeholders. Please, can you expatiate people that are included in the scope of the school stakeholders? In the school context?
Okay. So the stakeholders are majorly like executives, that are involved in giving the overview of the business, right? So say things like principals, admins. These are people that you are going to have system a one-on-one.
Are they different from system users?
So say for example now, the system users are people that would make use of the application.
Okay.
So the stakeholders at times might differentiate from them, but the users, at the end of the day, the users too can also be the stakeholders that you need. Majorly, your users are literally your stakeholders. They are one part of your stakeholders.
Okay.
So if you think of things like, if you think of applications like Glovo in this scenario now, you as the customer that you order food on your Glovo, you are like a stakeholder that make use of that application.
Okay.
The restaurants that they showcase themselves on Glovo, on Child Deck, they are like another set of stakeholders. So what businesses do is that they run series of interviews, user surveys, and the likes like that. So, for example, in the case of the school scenario now, right? In the case of the school scenario now, the what's it called now? The
Parents.
principal, yes, the parents. So let me go back to the document so you can see it. So on here, you're going to see something like admins. So these are people that have been engaged with, because they're the one that would be on the end of student management, admins,
Okay.
teachers. They are going to want they're the one that will be on the end of student management. Under attendance tracking, as a parent, I want to see the attendance history of my child in the school. So as a parent, as a student, as a teacher, I also want to view my attendance rates. So under reporting and analytics, maybe report cards and so on and so forth like that. Admins, teachers, parents, So these are examples of people that would use the application solely.
Exactly.
You
Okay,
get
thank
me?
you.
And they can
Yeah,
also
thank you.
be, they can also be, stakeholders can also include the owners of the school themselves, because they are the one behind the whole thinking of the idea. Oh, I want to build something for this school such that my admin, my teacher, my parents, and my students, they should be able to utilize the platform in such a way that they themselves, they need to be engaged with. They need to be on the end of interview. What do you think this application should be like? In building this structure, right? I myself have been in several structures like that, and it has been a very, very blissful journey so far. So yeah, this is just majorly what we have for this structure. So I'm going to thank you very much, Adewumi, for asking.
Thank you.
That
I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah. Man, let me take Sinclair's question. Then we're going to continue from there. Hi, Sinclair.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Good evening. I hope you are good.
Yes, I am. My question is about under the epics, you have the user story. Then the user story is further broken down into tasks or stories.
Yes.
So those tasks and stories, as the BA, how do you get who does that part, right? Because the developer, let's say the high level says you want to view, okay, the high level is talking about contacts, for instance, contact directory. Then the user story is now, you're now breaking it down to the low levels. So that the user story is now saying something like create contact directory as number one. The second one might now be view contact directory, things like that. So under the create contact directory, those technicalities there that formed. If you could go to that document you were showing, that PRD you were displaying.
Okay. Just a moment. Let me do that now. I think I understand what you're saying.
So just scroll down.
Okay. So we have like the tasks under it.
This part. Those things, and also the duration. That's the story point, and the duration saying it takes us a number of days to complete, and all of that. Who does that part? How do we get that part?
Okay, how do you get that part? Now, in the structure of building, the whole task, I really love this question. Now, I never knew that your attention would be driven towards that area, but it's super, super super duper cool. Yeah. So under this particular axis of we have epics, we have user stories, and so on and so forth like that. Ideally, your stakeholder is just going to tell you as an admin, I want to be able to generate attendance report, right? As an admin, as a teacher, I want to be able to do this. Now, as a business analyst, you'll be the one to now set up a meeting with the technical guys to review each and all of these stories one by one to see what tasks would generate from each user story. Are you getting me?
Yes, yes, I understand.
Beautiful. So there will be a meeting. Most likely, it can be between it can be a collaboration between the BA and the PM on the job, or it can be a general meeting between the BA and the technical guys. Nothing concerns the stakeholder because all they just want to see is I've given you the result, I've given you the problem, give me my solution. They don't want to hear all of the technical jargons you guys are supposed to build. So it's in that meeting, the developers are now going to tell you, oh, we are going to need to build a database on MongoDB. We are going to be able to build something like this. Oh, help us get DigitalOcean as an API endpoint. Oh, we are going to buy hostings and so on and so forth like that. You know, they'll be the one to now tell you, okay, this is how much time we can take in building this. In building a database, it should not take more than 3 hours. You know, but as a business analyst or as a project manager on the job, you are trying to now estimate. The project manager will be on the end of estimation. You know, okay, let's do it this way. Let's take this timeline. Let's use this timeline for this. You know, so that's what guide the business owners on or the project structure as to, oh, this is how much time we are going to use on this project. Then you are now taking that timeline to discuss with the stakeholder that, okay, based off the discussion with the developers and so on and so forth like that, this is how much is going to take us to build this product. Okay. So it's not the stakeholder that will now tell you, I want it to be ready in 3 months. Right? It's not the stakeholder that will give you that timeline. It is the guys who wants to build it that will give you the timeline. You know, the developers and so on and so forth like that. So that's just how that part, you know, goes. And that's how it works.
Okay, so it's after you get the whole timeline, like for the whole project. That's when they're now putting out the project scope, or I would like to, yeah, the project scope. There is usually a timeline there, like the period of both the budget and the period. So is that how that duration comes up, like at the end? Because the owner, the project sponsor, the owner of the project might just say, I want this website built. And so he might have a timeline in mind. So is it the after these whole consultations with the technical team and all that, that you can now form a
the
valid
particular timeline? Yes. So it's the discussion with the discussion with the technical guys on board. Their capability of finishing a project is what determines how long a project is going to take. Do you get me? So because the stakeholder might or might not even know how much the technical structure they need to put in place is like. So think of something like, say, AliExpress now. Oh, we want to build something like AliExpress. Inside AliExpress itself, it has like several databases. We are going to create a database for sellers. We are going to create a database for buyers. That's separate. We are going to have a payment platform. We are going to have a payment structure that we can use inside of the application. We are going to have integrations towards product pictures, upload product pictures, and a lot of other things like that before they now start designing the user interface. These are things that, you know, maps out the whole scenario. So is it now the stakeholder that wants to build AliExpress that will now say, oh, based on what we want to build, though, because we built Alipay in 3 months, we can build AliExpress also in 3 months. No, it's the developers on board, the guys that will do the main build, that will give the timeline. They can just have an expectation, right? Business owners can have an expectation. The person that gives them the actual timeline are the developer. They can have an expectation. So say, for example, now, as it is now, what iOS, Apple stakeholders' mind is on for the next year is that, okay, iOS 7 is coming out the next year. That is what everybody's mind is fixed on right now. But that particular date of launch is not determined by any. They just come up out of the blues and send messages everywhere. Oh, this is what's going to happen. This is the day we are going to have the event, and so on and so forth like that. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah. So there can be expectations from stakeholders' end, but actual timeline will be developed or will be mapped out by the guys who wants to, answer whatever they want to have. So thank you very much for that. Basically, so my question is that could someone be professional in business analytics without studying business administration in school? Because I think someone will need a domain knowledge to analyze a business problem like a pro. Okay. So Adeyanju, hi. The answer to your question is very simple. I myself, the data analyst in the house can drag me for this, but please don't drag me. I myself, I studied economics. And yes, I am thriving in the field of business analysis today. I did crazy statistics. Statistics that can run someone mad. That was what we did in our own time. So yeah, that's just how it is. So basically, you don't need to have a degree in business analytics, So if your function is across operations, strategy, as a business admin person, you can act as an operations manager. And for every operations manager, if you don't have a domain knowledge of business analysis, if you do not have, your function revolves around business analysis. You are working with people. You need to know how to track people. You need to know how you can manage people, build strategies fast. So that's just how it is. Okay. So this is something that maybe a part 2 will load very soon. Okay. I guess so. So let's just wrap this whole session up. It has been very, 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 very interesting with you all. Okay. And yeah, like I said earlier on, at Nibiant Analytics here, we train people on data analytics, data science, and also business analysis. Okay, so these are things that are very, very sought after in the field. Okay, there are careers that are very, very sought after in the field today. And one of the things that is more or less like fun facts about this whole thing is that they are easy to learn, they are easy to transition, and also we have great salary projections for this structure. Okay, and moving forward under our data analytics program, we train you under all of our programs. We train you across a couple of tools. Okay, taking business analysis first. Okay, we train you on the data analytics part of things. Then we now train you and caveat like a strategist. Okay, you can act as both a business data analyst, business intelligence analyst, process flow analyst, and so on and so forth. You can stand out, become a strategy consultant, become a business consultant out there, and you're able to move towards several fields. You would see businesses and you'll be able to analyze them in a moment. You'll be able to see them and say, these are the gaps in your own business, Jerry. This is what you have to build. This is how you need to do it, and so on and so forth like that. After finishing your program here with us at Nibient Analytics, we also have data science where we train you to become. Can we all hear me? Please, if you can hear me, let me see your thumbs up.